Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
NBA executive sets price tag for Jonathan Kuminga, $80 million more than what the Warriors offered. An NBA executive has revealed how much they'd be willing to pay for Jonathan Kuminga, as his contract negotiations with the Golden State Warriors have hit a wall, and the number might surprise you. According to reports, Kuminga turned down a 2-year, $45 million extension from the Warriors, signaling serious frustration with the team. The young forward allegedly feels Golden State has held back his development, and now seems more than ready to explore opportunities elsewhere. That apparent availability has not gone unnoticed. Teams across the league are paying attention. The Sacramento Kings even tried to trade for Kuminga, though talks fell through. If no deal is reached, he'll become a restricted free agent in 2026, setting the stage for a potential bidding war. And it looks like one team is already willing to go all in. NBA executive would offer $125 million for Kuminga. In a report by The Athletic, an anonymous NBA executive said they'd offer Kuminga $125 million over 5 years. A staggering $80 million more than what the Warriors put on the table for 3 additional seasons. Golden State, on the other hand, appears to be playing the long game. With eyes on a potential max-level free agent in 2027, the team is cautious about locking into long-term deals now. That's likely why they're limiting Kuminga's offer to just 2 years, and why they've resisted including a no-trade clause, a clear signal that they'd be open to moving him mid-season. Interestingly, the Warriors have reportedly declined to trade Moses Moody or Buddy Hield, leading to the breakdown of the Kings' trade proposal. Yet, this unnamed executive is confident enough in Kuminga's upside to make a long-term commitment, despite his relatively modest average of 15 points per game last season. Kuminga compared to Jaden McDaniels. To justify the bold offer, the executive compared Kuminga to Minnesota Timberwolves rising star Jaden McDaniels, who signed a 5-year, $131 million deal in 2023. McDaniels is fantastic in his role, the executive said, but JK is more talented and has a higher ceiling, if he can become a consistent shooter. And Kuminga has shown flashes of that potential. In 2024, he had a stretch of 8 consecutive games scoring 20-plus points, including a 31-point breakout performance against Sacramento. Still, McDaniels has already established himself as one of the league's elite defenders, earning a spot on the NBA All-Defensive Second Team in 2024. By contrast, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr seemed hesitant to fully trust Kuminga last season. The 21-year-old saw limited minutes down the stretch and only got significant playoff action after Stephen Curry's injury. A fresh start may be what Kuminga needs. There's no denying Kuminga has raw talent, and a growing list of suitors willing to bet big on his potential. If the Warriors aren't ready to invest in his future, someone else certainly will. The question now is whether Golden State will recognize what they might be losing, before it's too late. Kuminga's rising value sparks league-wide conversations. The executive's bold $125 million valuation of Jonathan Kuminga didn't just catch the attention of fans, it's also stirred up serious conversations around front offices across the league. Teams are now reassessing their own evaluations of Kuminga, a player who just a year ago was struggling to carve out consistent minutes in Golden State's veteran-heavy rotation. Several league insiders have noted that Kuminga's situation highlights a growing tension within the Warriors organization, the push to stay competitive with their aging core versus the need to develop their younger talent. With Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green nearing the twilight of their careers, the franchise faces a delicate balancing act, and Kuminga has become the symbol of that internal conflict. Fans react to Kuminga's situation. The story has also generated buzz among players. A few have subtly shown support for Kuminga on social media, liking posts suggesting he deserves a larger role or reposting highlight reels that show what he's capable of when given the opportunity. Fans, too, are divided. Some loyal to the Warriors dynasty era believe Kuminga hasn't done enough to warrant a big contract yet. Others argue he's been underutilized and mishandled, a sentiment echoed by analysts who say Golden State has consistently failed to create a clear developmental path for its young talent. Even Warriors legend Andre Iguodala, who mentored Kuminga during his early seasons, mentioned in a recent podcast appearance that JK just needs the right system. He's got tools most guys would kill for. What's next for Golden State, and for Kuminga? Golden State's front office has remained quiet amid the reports, but sources close to the organization say there's internal disagreement about how to proceed. Some in the building see Kuminga as a future all-star who just needs more consistent minutes and confidence from the coaching staff. Others remain skeptical, pointing to his inconsistent shooting and defensive lapses as concerns in high-stakes playoff environments. There's also growing speculation that if the Warriors can't come to terms with Kuminga soon, they may revisit trade options before the 2026 free agency window. Several teams, including the Orlando Magic, Indiana Pacers, and Brooklyn Nets, have reportedly expressed interest and have both the cap space and developmental infrastructure to give Kuminga the spotlight he's seeking. The bigger picture, a cautionary tale for the Warriors. The Jonathan Kuminga saga could end up being more than just a contract dispute. It might be a turning point for how Golden State is viewed as a destination for young talent. After similar development concerns around players like James Wiseman and Moses Moody, league executives are beginning to question whether the Warriors can successfully build a bridge between their veteran stars and the next generation. If Kuminga leaves and blossoms into the two-way star many believe he can become, it could be a costly misstep, not just financially, but in terms of the Warriors' future credibility with rising talent. For now, all eyes are on Golden State. Will they finally unlock Kuminga's potential, or will another franchise reap the rewards? Jonathan Kuminga advised to consider the team he doesn't want, as Steph Curry thrives without him. Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Golden State Warriors is hanging by a thread, with both sides locked in a stalemate and no signs of compromise on the horizon. The 21-year-old forward has made it clear, he doesn't want to return to Golden State. He's already turned down a 2-year, $45 million extension, a strong signal that he's ready for a new chapter elsewhere. The Warriors, however, aren't ready to let him walk for nothing. They've rejected trade offers from both the Phoenix Suns and Sacramento Kings, insisting on a meaningful return if they're going to part ways with one of their most promising young assets. So what happens now? With both sides in limbo until at least October, veteran Warriors insider Tim Kawakami has offered a surprising, yet practical piece of advice for the frustrated young star. Take the deal, even if it sends you somewhere you don't want to be. Kawakami believes that Kuminga should accept the Warriors' 2-year offer, even if it eventually leads to a trade to a team like the Charlotte Hornets, a destination he may not favor. Why? Because it gives him leverage, financial security, and a clearer path to a more prominent role. Even if it's Charlotte, that's not the worst-case scenario, Kawakami said. He'd get playing time. He'd put up numbers. It's a short-term contract, and it puts him back on the market in his mid-20s. That's not a bad outcome. Staying with Golden State on a $7.9 million qualifying offer, Kawakami argues, is a much riskier move, especially if Kuminga's role under Steve Kerr continues to diminish. $45 million versus $7.9 million, and a locked role. There's a massive gap between the security of a $45 million deal and the uncertainty of a 1-year $7.9 million offer. Accepting the extension, even if it leads to a short stint elsewhere, could allow Kuminga to regain control of his narrative. You're talking about potentially locking in $45 million, becoming a free agent again at 24, and doing it with more experience and a stronger resume, Kawakami explained. Compare that to staying in a limited role, playing behind vets, and possibly hurting your long-term value. In other words, betting on yourself doesn't always mean turning down money. Sometimes, it means choosing the smartest path to more opportunity. Golden State thrives without him, and that hurts his leverage. Adding weight to Kawakami's argument is a tough reality for Kuminga. The Warriors have shown they can win without him. Kawakami pointed to last season's play-in game against the Memphis Grizzlies, where Steph Curry dropped 37 points and Jimmy Butler, who had just joined the team, added 38 in a 121-116 victory. Kuminga was absent that night. That was one of the best games the Warriors played all year, Kawakami noted. The ball movement, the defensive intensity, they didn't need Kuminga. In fact, some of the Warriors' most complete performances last season came when he wasn't on the floor. And it wasn't just a one-off. As the team adjusted its rotation late in the season, Kuminga saw his minutes fluctuate, especially in high-stakes situations. That inconsistency may have been one of the main reasons behind his desire to leave. A path forward, but not on his terms. Ultimately, Kuminga faces a tough choice: hold out and risk being stuck in a system that doesn't prioritize his development, or take the deal, even if it means a temporary stop in a place like Charlotte. The 2-year structure gives Golden State team control, yes, but it also gives Kuminga an out. If he thrives elsewhere, he can hit free agency at just 24 with proven production, a bigger market for his services, and possibly a fresh narrative around his career. From a financial and strategic standpoint, it may be the smarter move, even if it's not the most comfortable one. Kuminga's situation could shape the Warriors' identity moving forward. What's happening with Jonathan Kuminga isn't just about one player's dissatisfaction. It's becoming a reflection of a deeper identity crisis within the Warriors organization. Golden State is clearly at a crossroads. On one side, they're still tied to the remnants of a dynasty led by Steph Curry, a team built around smart veterans, high IQ basketball, and a proven system. On the other, there's the looming need to evolve, develop young talent, and prepare for life after Curry, Klay, and Draymond. Kuminga, once seen as the bridge between those two eras, is now on the verge of becoming the latest talent to slip through the cracks. A pattern emerging. Is Golden State losing young stars too soon? Around the league, execs and analysts are beginning to ask tough questions. Is Golden State still a place where young players can grow? Former top pick James Wiseman never found his footing with the Warriors before being traded to Detroit. Moses Moody has shown flashes but remains in and out of the rotation. Now with Kuminga, arguably their most naturally gifted young player, openly looking for a way out, the narrative is shifting. 3 high-upside players, and none of them developed into core guys under Kerr. That's not a coincidence, one league scout told The Ringer. It's not about talent. It's about trust, reps, and role, and Golden State hasn't been willing to sacrifice short-term wins to build for the long term. That criticism is only intensifying as more young stars around the league get green lights on rebuilding or rising teams. Players like Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Williams, and Scotty Barnes are flourishing because they're given space to fail and grow. Kuminga, in contrast, has often been on a tight leash. Locker room dynamics. How long can the vibes last? While the Warriors front office is trying to walk a fine line between loyalty to their vets and investment in youth, the locker room dynamic is becoming trickier. Steph Curry continues to be the ultimate professional, but there's a growing sense that the team is asking too much of him. At 37, he's still delivering MVP-level performances, but the weight on his shoulders isn't sustainable forever. Meanwhile, players like Jimmy Butler, brought in to provide short-term help, have shined in certain moments but aren't part of the long-term vision. Kuminga, if properly developed, could have been both, a player who helps now and becomes part of the future. Instead, we're left with a standoff, and growing uncertainty about what this team is actually building toward. What other teams are watching closely? Make no mistake, other teams are monitoring Kuminga's situation closely. The Orlando Magic have the cap space, youth-driven culture, and need for wing scorers. The Indiana Pacers, who've already turned Tyrese Halliburton into an all-star, are also seen as a potential landing spot. And don't count out the Brooklyn Nets. Kuminga is originally from the New York area, and the Nets are in the market for young marketable talent to lead their next phase. If Golden State continues to stall, expect trade discussions to ramp up aggressively as the season approaches. Several front offices view Kuminga as a buy low opportunity, someone who could explode once freed from the Warriors' rigid system. The clock is ticking. The Warriors have a decision to make, and it won't get easier with time. If they let this drag into the season, it could become a distraction that affects the locker room and team chemistry. If they trade Kuminga without getting meaningful value in return, they'll face harsh criticism for failing to develop yet another young player. For Kuminga, accepting the $45 million deal might mean short-term sacrifice. But it also gives him a chance to control the next chapter of his career, even if it starts somewhere unexpected. Whether it's Charlotte, Orlando, or another franchise ready to invest in him fully, a fresh start may be exactly what he needs. And if the Warriors aren't willing to see his value now, someone else surely will. Brandon Podziemski makes surprising comparison between Warriors and Valkyries. It's a different kind of noise. Golden State Warriors guard Brandon Podziemski had something unexpected to say about the energy at Chase Center, and it didn't have to do with his own team. Podziemski, one of the rising young stars in the Warriors lineup, recently praised the Golden State Valkyries, the WNBA's newest franchise based in San Francisco, for bringing a level of electricity to the arena that, in his words, feels different, even louder, than during Warriors games. It's a bold statement. But it also taps into a conversation that's been quietly simmering in the Bay Area for years. Has Chase Center lost the soul of Oracle Arena? When the Warriors moved from Oakland's legendary Oracle Arena to the sleek state-of-the-art Chase Center in San Francisco for the 2019-2020 season, the shift came with more than just a new zip code. Ticket prices soared. Long-time, die-hard fans, the same ones responsible for Oracle's infamously deafening atmosphere, were priced out. And while the franchise's core remained the same, the vibe wasn't. Even during their 2022 championship run, some fans and players noted that the energy in the building wasn't quite what it used to be. Nights that once felt electric at Oracle occasionally fell flat at Chase, unless Steph Curry himself ignited the spark. It's electric, Podziemski on the Valkyries' home crowd. That's what makes Podziemski's comments so powerful. As someone who's lived both realities, playing in front of the Warriors crowd and now watching the Valkyries take the same floor, he's uniquely positioned to spot the difference. It's electric. The noise is a different kind than we're used to, Podziemski said. It actually feels louder most of the time. He went on to praise the community support for the Valkyries, who have sold out nearly every home game in their inaugural WNBA season. I think we've had 15 home games so far, and everyone's been sold out. The energy, the fans, the support, it's really cool to see. What the Valkyries are building is impressive, especially in just their first year. The Valkyries are making the Bay shake. The Golden State Valkyries aren't just showing up, they're showing out. The team currently leads the WNBA in average home attendance and has turned Chase Center into a true fortress, drawing passionate, vocal crowds that have quickly earned a reputation across the league. Even more impressive? According to WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, less than 5% of Valkyries season ticket holders are also Warriors ticket holders. That means this isn't just a carryover audience. It's a completely new fan base, built from scratch. Fans have even dubbed the atmosphere Valhalla, a nod to Norse mythology and the team's name, and both players and visitors alike have spoken about the unique energy the Valkyries bring to San Francisco. A culture shift in the making? While the Warriors are still figuring out how to recapture some of the old Oracle magic, the Valkyries seem to have struck gold right out of the gate. Their games feel urgent, intimate, and loud, not just because of the product on the court, but because of what they represent. A team that's fresh, accessible, and deeply connected to its community. For Podziemski and the rest of the Warriors, this could be a spark, a chance to rethink how they connect with fans, feed off their energy, and rebuild a culture that once defined them. Because now, for the first time in years, the loudest basketball games in San Francisco might not be when the Warriors play, but when the Valkyries do. A wake-up call for the Warriors fan base. Brandon Podziemski's candid observation may come as a surprise to some, but for many fans, it hit a nerve. The buzz surrounding the Valkyries isn't just about basketball. It's about community, culture, and the kind of emotional investment that made Oracle Arena legendary. In many ways, the Valkyries have reignited something the Bay Area hadn't felt in years, a true sense of belonging. Ticket prices are more accessible. Players are deeply engaged with fans. The team embraces a grassroots energy that mirrors what the Warriors once had, before the championships, the tech money, and the VIP lounges. I haven't felt this energy in a basketball crowd here since Oracle, one longtime fan posted on X. The Valkyries feel like they're our team. The Warriors are watching, and so is the league. Internally, Warriors execs have taken notice. According to team sources, there's been discussion about how the organization can bridge the growing gap between the experience fans have at Valkyries games and the more polished corporate feel of Warriors nights. While the Warriors have always had elite star power, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, the emotional connection that defined the early dynasty years has faded for some. Podziemski's comments may serve as a catalyst for change, pushing the franchise to re-engage with its local roots, rethink pricing strategies, or even reimagine how in-game experiences are delivered. From a league-wide perspective, the WNBA is capitalizing on the moment. The Valkyries' success has already sparked conversations in other NBA markets about launching or expanding WNBA teams, particularly in regions with strong underserved fan bases. The players feel it, too. What's happening off the court is clearly affecting what's happening on it. Valkyries players have spoken openly about how much the crowd support fuels their performances. In a recent post-game interview, star guard Kiki Irvin said, "When you hear 18,000 people screaming for you, really screaming, it hits different. We feel it every night. It's more than just noise. It's pride. And that pride seems to be translating into results." The Valkyries are off to one of the best starts for an expansion franchise in WNBA history, currently sitting near the top of the Western Conference standings and looking like a legitimate playoff threat. Two franchises, one city, different stories. The irony is hard to ignore. Two professional basketball teams share the same arena, the same city, and even the same colors, but are living two very different moments. The Warriors, still rich in talent and championship pedigree, are navigating a transition phase. They're balancing the final years of Steph Curry's legendary career while trying to integrate younger pieces like Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga, all while fighting to remain contenders in a loaded Western Conference. Meanwhile, the Valkyries are building something from the ground up, fast, loud, and fearless. And they're doing it with a fan base that's buying in 100%, no questions asked. What comes next? For the Warriors, this could be a moment of reflection, even reinvention. Can they recapture that raw, authentic connection with fans that once made Oracle the most feared arena in the NBA? Or will that torch quietly pass to a new team, in a new era, just a few locker rooms away? As for the Valkyries, they're just getting started. With sellouts, star performances, and a groundswell of local love, they've already planted a flag in the Bay's sports culture, and made it loud and clear. This city has room for more than one basketball dynasty. Steph Curry and Zion Williamson could team up next summer, says former Warrior. Steph Curry and Zion Williamson might just be joining forces on the court next summer, and fans won't want to miss it. According to a former Sixth Man of the Year from the Golden State Warriors, both NBA stars have shown serious interest in playing at Jamal Crawford's crossover Pro-Am in Seattle. If it happens, it could be one of the most exciting summer events basketball has seen in years. Curry, who's made it clear that his main focus is bringing another championship to the Warriors, is still recovering from a playoff injury that prematurely ended Golden State's 2024 run against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Despite being 37, Curry continues to defy age, and his competitive fire hasn't cooled one bit. Zion Williamson, on the other hand, has had a career overshadowed by injuries. Last season, he appeared in just 30 games before being sidelined with a back injury. Still, when healthy, Williamson is one of the most electrifying players in the league, a true force on the court. Seeing Curry and Williamson play side by side, even just in a Pro-Am setting, would be must-see TV. And at Crossover, known for its high-energy atmosphere and passionate Seattle fans, the duo could turn the gym into a madhouse. Both stars have reportedly expressed interest in playing next summer, potentially joining a list of NBA greats who've graced the Crossover stage. In 2022, LeBron James and Jason Tatum suited up for the event, marking LeBron's first appearance in Seattle since 2007. Seattle, still longing for the return of an NBA team after the Supersonics' departure to Oklahoma City, treats Crossover like a major league event. Jamal Crawford, who played for the Warriors in 2008 and now organizes the Summer League, told the Seattle Times, "Crossover will be back. I'm already planning for next year. I'll be coaching again, but I'm always thinking of how to make it even better." On the possibility of Curry and Zion participating, Crawford added, "It just shows that Seattle basketball, both pro and amateur, isn't just on the map. The best in the world are taking notice." Curry showed last summer, with his standout performance at the Olympics, that he can still put on a show in the offseason. And if he takes the court with Zion in Seattle, it's bound to be unforgettable. For Zion, it's about more than just a game. Zion's interest in Crossover could also be a promising sign about his health and mindset. Since entering the league, he's battled injury after injury, starting with a torn meniscus in his rookie preseason. The New Orleans Pelicans have been cautious, often limiting his minutes and keeping a tight rein on his playing time. Now 25, Zion has made it clear, he wants to play without restrictions. His eagerness to participate in a summer Pro-Am hints at a player ready to take control of his own narrative. It might just be optimism, or maybe it's a shift in mentality. Either way, his willingness to put in extra work during the off-season could signal a turning point. And maybe, just maybe, it's Zion's way of telling the Pelicans, and the world, that he's ready to take the reins. A potential summer showcase with major implications. If Steph Curry and Zion Williamson take the court together at Crossover, it won't just be a spectacle, it could have ripple effects across the NBA landscape. For Curry, it's a chance to stay sharp, lead by example, and inspire the next generation. He's one of the most respected figures in the league, and any time he laces up outside of a Warriors jersey, it draws massive attention. Fans, young players, and even fellow pros show up when Steph plays, and his presence at crossover could elevate the event to new heights. For Zion, this is much more than a summer run. It could be the first step toward rewriting the narrative around his career. His name has often been associated more with what could have been rather than what is. But showing up healthy, active, and aggressive in the off-season could send a clear message: he's ready to finally take that leap. Analysts have already begun speculating on what this appearance could mean for his standing with the Pelicans. Is this Zion signaling that he's no longer willing to be handled with kid gloves? Is he looking to prove that he can endure a full NBA season? Or is he quietly auditioning for a future elsewhere? Reactions from around the league. The buzz around the potential Curry-Williamson team-up has already sparked reactions across social media. NBA players, insiders, and fans are weighing in. Draymond Green, Curry's longtime teammate, hinted at the news during a recent podcast episode, saying, "If Steph's going up to Seattle, you know it's something special. He doesn't just show up unless there's a reason." J.J. Redick, former player and now an ESPN analyst, tweeted, "If Zion shows out at crossover and stays healthy, the league better watch out. He's got a point to prove." Even Jamal Crawford himself took to social media, teasing, "This summer might break the internet. Just wait." With all eyes on Seattle, it's no longer just a local event. Crossover is becoming a national stage, especially when the biggest names in the league are showing interest. Seattle's basketball scene is booming. This momentum also shines a spotlight on Seattle's enduring passion for basketball. Despite losing the Supersonics in 2008, the city has remained a basketball hotbed. From grassroots talent to NBA alumni like Crawford, Nate Robinson, and Isaiah Thomas, the culture is alive and well. Events like crossover aren't just entertainment, they're a statement. A message that Seattle deserves a team again. And the presence of megastars like Steph and Zion only strengthens the case for the NBA's return to the Emerald City. Looking ahead. Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but all signs point to a summer spectacle that could reshape storylines for two of the league's most compelling players. If Curry joins, it'll remind the world that he's not done yet, that even in the twilight of his career, he's still reaching for greatness. If Zion joins, it could mark the beginning of a comeback story that fans have been hoping for since he entered the league. One thing is certain. If this summer's crossover lives up to the hype, it won't just be another Pro AM game. It'll be a moment.